Okay, so this is how it looks. The we had a bounce. So just a quick recap. There are two things. One is the angle of this line. I'll explain, and different levels I'll cover. So this was a critical one from which we got bound. So the major work was done here by not coming close to the May 19th law. So this was a big deal. Also, this bounce was really good one. However, as we can see, it struggled to break above S4.1, which is actually the same range. And but the good thing is, this was the slope earlier, and it was consolidating. Okay, sometimes the slope changes. Little bit of TA for you. That the slope was this after it broke above. So what you saw after breakout. So this was a breakout, and this is a throwback. Means it comes back to the breakout level. This is 4 hour scale. It touched this yellow line, bounce, but again rejected by 4.1. Touched the yellow line, again rejected after a bounce. And this was also a good bounce where went offline, but again rejected. So if you see multiple rejection and multiple bounce from this yellow line, so what you see here is another dip, but this is deeper. Okay, however, this is back to the earlier angle of this breakout, which is totally fair and nothing is being tweaked here. Only if you look at it. um, so now this is also a throwback, but now on this breakout level, right? So what you see here is this is very important range. Okay, at the max what you could do is this by connecting this, uh, but then you cannot just keep doing it. I mean, when then risk will go higher and higher in that case. So this is one method. There are multiple different methods. Okay, but this is one simple method. Another another point is, even from the depth point of view, right now this is the range where I can say it's acceptable. It's not desirable, but acceptable. Okay, what it means is, um, the price above S4.2 is not a major threat. Means it can come down up to this level, and if it can bounce, then it's well and good. Okay, anything below 4.2, when I say 4.2, sometime it could spike down like this. You see the wick down, so it could do that like that. But the important thing is, then in that case you have to consider this as a region. You might, in that case, you might draw this kind of line, um, this kind of a line, which I would draw with a little gray shade, like this, maybe to distinguish that you might consider this sometimes. So if 4.2, so this range is so critical if I put in this perspective. Yeah, so ideally it should bounce from here, but if it comes down to up to this level, still fine, but coming down to this level will not be a good sign. And anyway, this dip itself is not a good sign, but not a good sign may not turn into crash. However, it is definitely a sign. When if this bounce had to go all the way, and this kind of a drop, so is not a good sign for sure. So I'm not going to give you any hope saying everything is all right. No, I mean, this is not something desirable. However, this is at in within acceptable range. The range is very narrow. If it breaks above, at this currently I'm recording, so please try not to unmute. Right, so this the range is narrow. If it breaks above S4, then changes the balance. If it breaks below this one, it changes the balance. So that's how it is. Now, in worst case scenario, what could happen is this is the level. I'll have to retune it and see if this is a valid level. But if remember one thing, that this is a huge consolidation. So if this bounce fail and try to move sideways, right, and do not able to break above S4, okay, if it not able to break above, then it is a bad sign in simple words, because this kind of sideway movement at and consolidation in this range would not be a good sign. So this is a downside scenario for understanding and planning point of view. If that happens, then definitely this level is at risk, and we would look for this level. Now, in my previous session I said, even if it comes down to this levels, this is for me personally, this is the last level. Still, this is not the last, but I would say risk management is required for all. I will not generalize for everyone, that it is okay to start reducing in chunk as these key levels start dropping. Let me make it very clear, and this session is being recorded, okay? It's not about getting panic. It's all about planning, that what are you going to do. Use your alerts, and if it breaks below this level, you may reduce your position. It's not a financial advice, but it's a common sense, and everybody has to take care of their portfolio in that sense. Now, I'm pointing out different levels. So again, this is for preparation. Um, I'll so this is, we are covering the bear scenario here, right? And in that, you may start reducing starting from here. And when I say reduce, it's not about 50, 60% or 70% or 100%, right? It could be small. It's up to you how much percentage. But the point is, sometime if it drops up to here and then goes up, you should not feel FOMO. You should not feel that, hey, I should not have sold, and that kind of regret should not be there. Whatever you decide, you have to stick to it. So that's the number one rule in the trading. At this moment, you have to decide what are you going to do, and you have to stick to it. You cannot change it, okay? So this is for preparation. So you take these levels as your point of action, okay? Whatever action you want to take, this one, this one, this one, and of course, so these are three levels. And in that case, simple technique is, if it bounces from any level, you do the opposite, okay? So you are back into the game. So that's one of the approaches which I share often. I'm repeating again in this session. Now, coming back to the bull scenario, to me, as I said, this level is acceptable level. This is a technical level I calculated just before the call, and this is the slope right now. This is a breakout, and this is a throwback. So it's a retracement, and this is not a desired retracement, but we have to take it. And now, if this bounce is so critical, if this bounces, now this bounce cannot just stop here, okay? This bounce has to go all the way to S4. I don't mind if it goes to S4, move sideways for a while, okay? And even it's so even okay for it to come back. So let me talk about the potential path here. Okay, well, sorry, my oh yeah, this one is good. So I'm expecting a move up to S4, then a consolidation, and a likely a downside, a retest of 4.1. And so this is the best scenario. Okay, this is what I want to see. What is alternative scenario? which we don't want to see. Of course, we don't want to see a bounce up to this, and you know, I will just stop here. What we don't want is this. Okay, I'll change the color. This would be a red level. What we don't want is this one. Okay, so this is a green path, this is a red path, this is unacceptable. Or if that this happens, you will be on alert and do whatever is required for risk management, and this is what we want to see. Okay, um, can it go down from here? I think looking at current situation, it should give a bounce, right? But if it goes down from here, so when I say this much, it could be height, could be any, like this up to this or this, so it's not important. The height could be in this range. The point is, I'm talking about a rejection before reaching S4. That's the point. So it's not about exact price, right? So this bounce must not die anywhere between or before 4.1. I hope that is clear. So what you're going to watch is the height of the bounce, the progress of this bounce. Right now there is no strength. However, the strength could come later on also, so that's not a problem. As long as it doesn't make a new low from here on, you're fine. So let's say this bounce continues, you're going to again watch for 4.1 level and watch for potential continuation towards S4. So if it takes the green path, then we are good, right? And as expected here, it's going to react, but this is not a problem, right? As long as it remains above S4. Now when I draw this one in a video, I can explain all. When I post a chart, I cannot explain this much in detail. But again, when it pulls back, not pulls back, but retraces, it could retrace at up to this level or this level. This is not important. It could just consolidate here and go up. This is not important. I'm drawing a maximum range up to this one. So even if it comes down to this level, that's not a problem, right? What we don't want is coming touching this S4 and returning back to this level, which is not good, of course. Then if that happens, then this is as good as red path. Only difference would be the height was higher than S4.1 up to 4. So if this green path turns into this kind of a retracement, then it's as good as the red path, right? So some of you just join or joining at this moment, don't worry, I'm recording this session. Have a look. What I'll do is I'll stop this recording because I think I covered both bearish and a bullish scenario at the key level, right? And the summary is, right now we are observing this bounce, and the height of the bounce will determine, right, what it wants to do. I don't think anyone has to panic, and I don't think anyone has to assume that all is good. These levels are very important. I tweeted about the same recently. I mean, half an hour ago, saying the same, because people are talking about 100K. I'm not against them. In fact, I have 200K. Forget about 100K. So I would say their target is low, but the point is, it's not about 100K and 200K. Right now, it is all about getting out of this. That's the most important thing. 100K is not important, 200K is not important. It has to break above this level, ideally 47K plus, right? But mainly it has to come out of at least this region, S4, and so you may say 42K plus above this orange line is very important. Anything in this region is dicey, is uncertain, and that's why we can talk about many things, but we have to always talk about probability, right? There is no end to the scenario. There is no end. I mean, you can always have a bias and maybe some other interest for you to do so. So when you are a DA, you cannot just talk about that. You can talk about that when you are a trader, because if you are a long position, of course you are not going to talk about sub 30K. When you are a trader and having a long position, you are obviously going for the, you know, a higher high. Nothing wrong about it. But when you're a TA, you have to talk about all the key levels, and you have to talk about the levels which will change the balance. Okay, so that's how it works. So with that note, I'm ending this recording, so everyone can, refer this if you have missed. Not a problem. So to for let me do one thing.